Hello, everyone. This is Liliam Llanos with the Utah Parent Center, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to this webinar. Today, we will be talking about a subject that is of great interest for everyone, and it's about learning how we can reduce stress and clear the mind in times of crisis. Today, I'm going to have a great colleague, NeuroCoach, who's going to be helping me and is going to be sharing an activity that is going to help us understand more our children's and their response to stress and how we can help them release some of that stress and the challenging emotions they go through. But before we go into the subject, please allow me to share with you a little bit about me. I've lived in the US for over 20 years, but I'm originally from Colombia. I have 4 children, 3 of them are adults, and also this little 9-year-old boy. His name is Miguel Angel, and he has Down syndrome. And you can see here also for my grandchildren, we spend a lot of time together, and needless to say that we have lots of fun. Also keep in mind, if you hear some voices in the background, it might be one or all of them. 4 years ago, approximately, I had the opportunity to get in touch with the Utah Parent Center and receive support during an IEP. It was a great experience that changed how I advocate for my son. And I still remember how I thought that it'd be incredible to be able to help other parents just the same way that I was helped back then. So this is why it's so special to me to be here now in this position and be sharing this information with you. Besides working in the center, I also have a private practice where I help people overcome trauma with strategies like the ones I'm gonna be sharing with you today. I know that you're gonna like them because they are simple and don't take a lot of your precious time to implement. So let's just dive in. When adults face constant stress, their ability to respond to their children's needs decreases. This makes children feel unsafe and unprotected. We know that we're navigating through difficult times, and that's a reason why we at the center wanted to put together this workshop so we can all learn new strategies that can help us regulate our own emotions while we help our children to reduce stress, improve their focus on motivation and their academic performance, and develop resilience at an early age. And all of this, we're going to do it through the implementation, through the practice of mindfulness. We'll also know later about the benefits of mindfulness and these strategies. So let's talk first about what resilience is. Resilience is the ability to adapt successfully in the face of stress and adversity. This doesn't mean, though, that we're never going to experience stress or sadness or frustration. It simply means that now we're going to have tools that are going to help us overcome those states, those emotions more rapidly and easily than we did before. So let's see how this time of crisis affect our children. You can see here, and this is for children and adults alike. This is a brain that has been damaged by constant or continuous stress, and this is a healthy brain. So when we consider everything that's going on with the COVID-19, it's possible to think that our children aren't aware of the risk they could be exposed to, since anyway, we're like doing our best to keep them safe, to keep them away from all this craziness. We can even think that due to our children's disabilities, they don't have a full understanding of the severity of the circumstances. And this could be the case for some of them. But research teaches us that anything that is familiar gives us a sense of security, and anything unknown or uncertain, it's perceived as a threat or danger. So let's just think for a minute about the changes our children have gone through within the last weeks. They happened almost overnight. School routine changed significantly. In some cases, it might even be non-existent due to the parents' responsibilities at work or lack of technical resources or abilities. We are, as adults, overwhelmed with all these roles. Now, we're not only parents and caregivers, but we are also teachers. This affects how we interact with our children as well. Family and social interaction has also changed. The family circle has been reduced considerably. Now we're limited the physical interaction to the members of our household. Community-based activities have disappeared, such as church gatherings, sport practices. So sometimes we wonder why our children are behaving differently. Well, they do have plenty of reasons to feel this way. But let's have another aid to help us understand fully how all of this is processed in our brain. So let's see what brain science tells us about all of this. The moment that you wake up, a special transformation takes place in your brain as it shifts from sleepy mind wandering, imaginative daydreaming state to a focused, attentive state that is needed for planning, decision making, and in order to take action to achieve our goals or pursue our goals. But if you begin to worry about the future, especially in response to this global uncertainty, your brain may shift into another state, the state of alertness. In this state, goal seeking is suspended, it's no longer a priority, as your brain re-enters that imaginary realm where negative memories, worries, and fears reside. The normal waking state functioning is put on hold as the brain tries to figure out what's going on. If you stay there for more than a minute or two, the connections between the thinking and imagination networks malfunction, causing a wide range of psychological problems. In this state of alertness, procrastination takes over, and you probably experienced that. Me too. And then if you stay alert too long, worrying about the future, you may become hypervigilant. You'll start looking for danger everywhere, even though none exists. And this forces you to remain constantly alert. You'll stay stuck in your thinking network and you won't be able to enter the daydream-like state that is essential for rest, relaxation, and creative problem solving for fear that something awful is about to occur. I'm sure this sounds very familiar for most of us. Then the brain loses its ability to distinguish between fantasy and reality. In times of global uncertainty, it's easy to become hypervigilant by staying glued to the news, and this can lead to a form of emotional trauma that is very difficult to recover from. However, there's another state called awareness that you can enter with practice. This state can protect your brain from being damaged from excessive worries, fears, and doubts that can be achieved through mindfulness. When you practice mindfulness, You don't think about anything in particular. You allow your mind to wander to wherever it goes as different thoughts, feelings, memories, and sensations float in and out of consciousness. The most important thing is that you're going to experience those thoughts and emotions in an accepting and non-judgmental manner. Yes, it is okay to experience anger. It is okay to experience sadness. So we just won't judge what comes up to our mind. Here are some of the behaviors you can see or experience: excessive crying or irritation in younger children, returning of behaviors they have outgrown. Maybe they wet their bed again or throw tantrums more often, feeling worried or sad with no apparent reason, unhealthy eating or sleeping habits, eating nonstop or losing the appetite, maybe needing naps more frequently, irritability and acting out behaviors in teens, poor school performance and avoiding academic activities, difficulty with attention and concentration, and avoidance of activities, even the ones that they enjoyed in the past. There are ways that we can bring some stability at home, and I just want to make a few suggestions. I suggest that you establish a routine that will help bring some of the structure lost when school was brought home. Keep in mind that it is smart to be flexible, since we know that everyone at home is going through emotional challenges. Set blocks of time for schoolwork and chores and a schedule for bedtime so you and your children can get enough sleep and be rested the next day. You can help with the flexibility by identifying 1 to 3 activities that you consider of highest relevance. This way you'll experience a feeling of success and can be more flexible with other activities. Include breaks during the day. They can be short and frequent. And we know now that taking these breaks, especially mindful breaks, can have the same effect as if you take long periods of time to practice relaxation or meditation. You can also promote physical activity. Kids need to be outside and need to be active. You can also be resourceful and do it indoors, even if they can't just be outside because it's just not easy to accommodate at the time. Create fun family traditions. This is gonna help you not only strengthen your family ties, but it's also gonna help to establish some of those routines. Children are gonna know what to expect. Maybe you can set a day of the week for a movie night, or it can be a board game night, even a day of service. Anything you can think of, but just giving them that sense of predictability into their lives. It's also important to promote motivation, to increase motivation in our children. And we know that most people are motivated by exploration of activities that are fun and different. So let's facilitate that for them. Facilitating connection with school-age kids, even if it's virtual right now, because we know all the limitations that we have, but they need still to develop those social skills. They need to be mindful of other children's needs, also learn about different cultures, or even to motivate their imagination. They creativity may be more stimulated when they are with other children than when they're just surrounded by adults, or they might be more motivated to learn things that are different that they see in other children. And also make learning fun. So just think about teaching through play and experiences. For example, a little kid can learn to count and the numbers with a board game, also the colors and sounds or sight words. You can increase the level of complexity for children that are older. They can learn things such as problem-solving skills, and just there is no limit to this making learning fun. We want to change from that passive method that we are used to when it comes to learning, so they can be more motivated and stay on task more easily. And since we already learned about the importance of releasing or reducing stress, I want to introduce you now to a few mindfulness strategies that will help you just do that. I'll begin with one that, although it's something we do every day and several times a day, it will probably surprise you. I hope that you make a guess and see if you're correct. So it is yawning. Yes, several research studies suggest that this is the fastest way to eliminate mental stress. It is so effective that it's been practiced for musicians and other artists and speakers before they perform. And it's also taught as part of the curriculum for the executive MBA program at the Loyola Marymount University in California. We know from that research that yawning stimulates the brain to release neurotransmitters. It helps cool off the brain and optimize brain activity and metabolism, increases empathy and social awareness, among many other benefits. If you want to know more about those benefits, let me know. Write it on the chat or message me later on, and I'd be happy to pass more of that research. And before I introduce you to Kelly Bennett, let me share with you these 5 1-minute strategies to reduce stress. When you take a minute several times during the day just to breathe consciously or move or stretch very slowly, you may help yourself to become more resilient to stress, anxiety, depression, and trauma. And it can help the same way your children. So the strategies are mindful breathing, slow movement or stretch. You can also achieve the same by taking a minute, from 1 minute to 5 minutes, so it's not another thing to deal with on your calendar of daydreaming. And we already know the importance of balancing those states between imagination and thinking. A minute of gratitude that will help you stay optimistic and have a positive outlook in life. And remembering a happy memory. You can do this yourself, and you can also help your children when they're frustrated or sad, and help them calm down by remembering an experience where they had a lot of joy or peace or excitement. But let's begin then our new habit of implementing mindfulness by taking a minute now to practice. So we're gonna practice the mindful breathing. You can choose to close your eyes or simply lower your gaze. Make sure that you're sitting comfortably, as comfortable and relaxed as you can. Put your attention on your next inhalation. Become aware of the sensations you experience as the air comes in through the nose and get into your lungs. Notice the air temperature when it goes out through the nose. And any other sensations in and around your body. If you have thoughts coming up, just observe them. No need to judge them. And just let them float away. Keep breathing mindfully for a few more seconds. If you feel impressed to move slowly or stretch, do so. Or simply stay with your breathing. After the next exhalation, open your eyes. Just wiggle your toes. Maybe shake your hands. Slowly come fully to your body. Focus again now on the screen. And get ready for the summary of benefits of mindfulness. I'm hoping that you're really relaxed, because we learn better when we are in this state of relaxation, so you can remember more easily the benefits of mindfulness. You can experience improvement in cognitive performance, emotion regulation, and stress resilience. Also, reduction in symptoms of anxiety and depression, improvement of immune responses and other physiological functions, increased compassion and empathy. Know that this is not an all-inclusive list of benefits. The benefits are countless, and I'll be happy to share that with you if you'd like to know more about those benefits. But now let's give the time to Kelly Bennett. Kelly is a certified NeuroCoach and holds a master's degree in clinical social work. She has over 20 years of experience working with children and seniors, helping them overcome chronic pain and trauma. And she's gonna share a wonderful activity, and I'm excited to learn from Kelly today. So let's welcome Kelly.
Hello, welcome. I am Kelly Bennett with NeuroFitness. I wanted to share with you today about sand tray therapy. This is one of my favorite things to do with kids. It allows them to express what they're feeling without having to share the information with me. So they will be able to release whatever's going on for them, put it into the sand tray, and find resolution with that. Sand trays, I would recommend that the child is at least 3 years old, 3 years of age or older. They also need to know that throwing sand is not okay. So you'll want to set up a couple of ground rules for the sand tray. If you find that the sand play is not completely appropriate, they're throwing sand or whatnot, let them know that the sand tray is a privilege to be able to do it, and close the tray. And when they are ready, they can go back to the tray. One of the things that I really like to do for a child before they start doing the sand tray is to take a deep mindful yawn. So do that with me right now. And then have your child do a super, super slow stretch. A nice, big stretch. Or you can also get these magnet rocks. You can find these any place that has the rock collection for the children. They're usually in that same area. And when they go polarized, you bounce them off each other very, very gently, and you'll find that you'll have a super relaxed feeling in your fingertips and hands. If you don't have these, you can also teach your child to just do a super slow movement. So do it with me. And you can feel a really deep sense of relaxation in your fingers. And this is something I would definitely teach your children to do. So if you find that they're getting a little bit too hyper or frustrated, you can have them do the deep mindful yawn and the super, super slow movement. That will help them relax prior to them getting into the sand tray. So that is the reason that I would have them do that, is so that they're nice and relaxed, and you reduce the chance that you're going to have a child that's not going to use the tray appropriately. And by that, I mean just keeping the sand within the tray. Most of the children that I have worked with, and some have been very, very young, have been able to do the sand tray without any inappropriateness at all. You will want to get toys, such as little furniture, maybe a lamp set, a little table, bed. Fencing is good to have, cars, these kinds of things. Each of these toys that I have right now, I have found in my children's toy box, toy area. So you'll just want to collect a few of the items that might represent your family, represent your child's favorite things. You'll want some things that might represent danger, such as the alligator. You also may, if you have any old Halloween toys, or it's time for Halloween, that's a good time to pick up just a few small items that represent evil. And the reason you want something that represents that is that when they put that into the tray, that can represent something like sadness, frustration, anger, those kinds of things. So that is the reason that you do want some of those objects. You also want to have some objects that represent good. What I use for those, the majority of the time, are things like religious objects. So maybe a cross, maybe a heart, maybe hands holding each other. You can find those in the button section of Joann's, or as well as Hobby Lobby. Michael's has them as well. So anything like that would represent something good, kind, are great to have for your tray. So those are great to have. I also have a printout for you to have, and that will also come with a poster for yawning, as well as a poster for a super, super slow motion movement. When your child puts their things into the tray, you will want to hover your hand over that object. And what you'll want to say when your hand is over the object is, tell me about this. And then you'll move your hand and you'll say, tell me about this object. And then you might say, tell me about this. Your child would then share with you for a few minutes about the objects. If they choose not to share, that's perfectly fine. Know that whatever feelings they needed to get out, they have been able to put into the sand tray. They can then move away from the tray when they're finished, go somewhere else. When they have left the room, that is when you will clean up the tray. The child doesn't ever clean up the tray on their own. And the reason for this is they're getting their feelings out and putting it into the tray. By you taking the object, them taking that object out, or them seeing you take that object out, it can have a feeling of trauma for them. And it can have a feeling of sadness for them. So you always want to clean up the tray when they're not in the room with you. The child never cleans up the tray on their own for that reason. So you'd clean up the tray, put your objects away like this, and before they begin a new tray, you'll just want to make sure that the sand is nice and smooth so that when they come in to do the next tray, it is completely smooth for them. This is great for adults to do as well. So if you are feeling frustrated, sad, something that you can't get off your chest, go ahead and take your child's toy collection that you've got set aside for the sand tray and create your own tray. I would ask, though, that you also not remove your own objects that you've created and that you allow somebody else to do that for you. If you'd like, after your child has completed the sand tray, you can snap a quick picture of that tray with the objects displayed within the sand tray. Doing that every time that they complete a tray, you may find that there are similarities or patterns within the story that they're telling within the tray. So it's good to have that just to kind of look back on. And you can also see how they progressed as well. One of the children that I worked with, we used this tray when he was having recurring nightmares. He was not winning, he was being attacked by things. So what we did is we added in, and I did this for him, I added in something that was strong. So what I added in for him was a toy slider. We've got today with us an alligator, so we may add in the alligator. That gave the child something that would be there with him and fight with him. This particular child was being attacked and felt like he couldn't win. He couldn't get away. He was stuck. Using that extra element, when he then dreamt at night and had that same dream, that object came into his dream. So the child was able to start winning the battle against the evil in his dreams. And he was eventually able to conquer that and no longer have the recurring nightmare. So that is one area where the sand tray is a really, really good use for something that the child is really struggling with. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I've got my email address on the piece of paper that has the instructions for each of you, so definitely use that. Ask any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much and enjoy doing this wonderful activity with your children. Remember that when their object is in the tray, that you hover your hand over. You don't point, because that inflicts a blaming feeling. So definitely just keep your hand hovered over the object and say, tell me about this, tell me about that. Have a beautiful week. Enjoy those precious children of yours. Take care, and we'll see you again.
I want to thank Kelly for sharing this time and this activity with us. I know that this is a fun activity that's going to help us connect better with our children and help us understand what they're going through during hard times. If you feel that you need additional support, please remember that we are only a phone call away at the Utah Parent Center. You can connect with a parent consultant that will help you find the resources that you need. This is a short list of some of the resources available out there, but you have a more extensive list in the handouts that you downloaded once you registered for the webinar. So we're gonna open up the conversation now with the Q&A. Kelly is here and she is gonna help me answer the questions, and we also have other parent consultants that can assist us with that.